Hello there. I'm making bookmarks, and I'm making bookmarks based on cats. And I've already done two videos on this. So check those out, A and B, if you want to see how I've achieved getting to this stage. Um, as planned in my last video, what I'm going to do now is make a cat, which is more of an impression of a cat, not an actual outline of a cat, but something that kind of represents cats. I'm sure there's a much better way of expressing it in words, but I'm just going to do it. So the image that I've found that I think is rather fun is this image right here. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to make it into a bookmark. The first thing that occurs to me is, how am I going to make this into a bookmark when it actually consists of the two parts, the head and then this body with the tail squiggle? Well, let's see what we can do. Let's have a look here. First of all, let's copy this. And I'm assuming that if I copy that and just paste it straight into 2D Design version 3, now this is interesting. Look what we have right here. We have got what appears to be an image straight into well, it is an image straight into 2D design, but notice how, whereas the other images that I worked with this dotted background were transparent, this one isn't transparent. This actually has got a checkered gray and white background. And just to prove the point here, if I just right click on this and go to save image as, this is being, it is a PNG file. PNG normally means that it is a transparent background, but someone's basically fooling us here. This is someone just causing grief. And let me explain why that is the case. Remember, I've copied it already. I'm going to go back to paint.net. Control-Alt-V. I've done this already in my previous videos. Now, notice that with these images here, the transparent background, in fact, I'm going to undo it here. Look, undo, undo, undo. There we are. That was there. That was with the transparent background. And to prove this is a transparent background, I'm going to bring a layer in here, a new layer, bring it behind, get a brush, and I'm going to do a worm. Let's do the worm here in red. I'm going to do a worm, and as I go behind the cat, there we are, it disappears behind the cat. And I can see here that that is the background image. The cat comes over the top, and the cat covers the worm, but the transparency of the cat doesn't. Now, let's just see what happens here with this. Same process. I'm going to add a new layer. I'm going to put it behind. I'm actually going to make the cat layer disappear. I'm going to draw a worm. There it is. And when I bring my cat back, look, the cat completely covers the worm. This is someone who either doesn't have a clue what they're doing on computers and photo editing, sorry to be harsh, or who knows what they're doing and they're just causing grief by making you believe it's transparent when it's not. So what I need to do here is make this image transparent. So I'm going to get rid, or not rid of, just make that worm layer invisible. And I'm going to select now my cat layer. Let's now come to the magic wand tool. I'm going to select the cat's head, and then now I'm going to either use the add tool here, or I'm going to hold on the control key. Notice I got a little plus appearing there next to the magic wand cursor. Hold on the control key, and now I'm going to also select the body. And now I'm going to go to image and I'm going to crop to selection. Okay, now look what happened there. Okay, first of all, I got rid of the margin around the outside of the graphic, which is not what I want. I just want to have a nice clean image without a margin. And secondly, the transparency in the background became a real transparency. And to prove that is the case, let me now bring in the worm background. He says, why isn't that working? How strange. Okay. Well, it's because bizarrely, yeah, okay, I can see what's happened here. When I crop to selection, here we go. When I crop to selection, it also cropped into the worm. But you can see it happening right here. This is before. I've got a complete worm here. Yeah, and when I cropped into the selection, look, it got rid of the worm in these little gaps here. Oh, that was fun. That's very fun. So let's just now go to image, crop to selection. Okay, fascinating. And now I can see that my worm has also been cropped too. So, let's just take the worm here. Okay, let's add a bit more to our worm here. Let's recreate the worm. Just put a head on there and add his tail. There, he's a happy worm again. Okay, there we are, a little bit of a head. I wanted any more features there. Okay, right, and now you can see that the transparency works. Okay, so there you are. That's proven my point. Let's now get rid of the worm layer there. I'm back to this layer right now, and I think what I'm going to do here. What did I do before? Yes, I added a layer in here. Sorry, I added a layer. I filled this layer in white. Notice this is the layer on top now, and then I'm going to bring that layer behind the cat. Voila! And then now I'm going to merge down to a single layer. Perfect. Okay, so I'm now going to select all, Control A, Control C to copy, 2D design. I'm going to get rid of that version there, which is wrong, and paste in the correct version, and that is looking beautiful. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead now and do my my outline. Remember, we did vectorize the bitmap, which added a little bit more complexity to it. I'm going to go with the contour and see how that works. So a zero spacing contour, exclude the transparent background color, which is effectively white here, and it's going to be an outside graphical path. Plop. Okay, and fingers crossed, what we now have is, yes, we have the outline. Remember again, I'm doing all of this with the grid lock turned on, and that means that everything is going to snap back into position. Now, I've just realized here I have done something a little bit daft, and that is I've made this into a massive bookmark compared to the cats I had before. Remember that we had these laser cuts. Okay, that's what I created there. Is kind of the right size, isn't it? I'm actually going to do a little bit more precision work here with my calculations. I've got a vernier gauge. In fact, no, I'm just going to use a ruler. Let's just go standard stuff. I've got my laser cut ruler here. Yep, there we go. I can see here that my cat here is about 9 centimeters and the whole bookmark is about 15 centimeters. Okay, so let's just say goodbye to that window there. I mean, I could take this, whoops, single click, and I could right click and bring this down. Remember, don't left click, because if you left click, you're going to distort it. Okay, I could bring this down to the right size, but I think I'm going to delete that. I'm going to bring this to the side here. I'm going to get a dimension line tool. I'm going to zoom in here with the wheel mouse, and I'm going to put a dimension line tool here to be 150 millimeters. Now I'm going to look down here at my relative grid reference points. Here it is. In fact, let's just do that. Okay. No, that's not doing what I wanted it to do. Okay, I will forget that and I'll just come back to my original plan. Didn't do the right thing. This is what I'm looking at, and as I mouse around, I can see I get an X and a Y relative dimension. I want to go straight down here. So my X wants to be 0. At the moment it's plus 10, plus 5, 0, minus 5. I want that to be 0. And I'm going to go down here 150. And then bring it across to the side. Okay, that's the size I want my bookmark to be. So let's pick up this graphic here. Let's bring that into there. Wheel that mouse out, get it right there. Right click, bring this in. Okay, that's kind of the size I want my bookmark to be. Let's make it a wee bit bigger there, something like that. Okay, let's put that to the side. Let's do my bitmap. Contour bitmap. Okay, 0 contour spacing, exclude transparent color, graphical path outside, click, and there it is. Okay, gee whiz. Well, where are we going to go from here? Well, my vision here is, let's just get rid of that one there. My vision here is that I want to have this actually as a negative space within the design. So let me show you what I mean by that. I'm going to come to my contour tool again. I'm going to come to a close contour, and I'm going to put in here. Let me think here. I'm going to go with 5 millimeters and see how this looks. Graphical space. I'm going to click there. Okay, well, that's pretty interesting. Let's just take that to the side again. I don't like the way that the whiskers are all gone blocky on the outside. Let me try another approach. Let me try toolpath contour. Ah, much, much nicer. Yeah, you can see how the graphical contour's got this kind of angular corners, and the toolpath contour is nice and rounded. The toolpath contour is actually for milling and routing. I'm not going to go into any more detail there, but it's a type of computer numeric control machine that cuts out usually wood. Anyway, let's see if I can do the same thing down here with the toolpath contour, 5mm spacing on this bottom piece. Yeah, I am liking that a lot. And look how they overlap there. That's really, really interesting. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is let's get rid of that offensive blocky cat face. Nothing against blocky cats, by the way. And let's now do a contour again. Now this is going to be a 0 contour spacing graphical. And I'm going to click on the inside of the original face, the inside. In fact, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to contour the outline. Yes, 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 yes. So now I've got this. Okay, now let's zoom out here and let's bring, in fact, let's actually select now the original design. Let's bring that down to there, okay? And then I've got these kind of overlaps. No, I didn't want to, what am I doing here? What am I doing? I'm doing it all wrong. I want to get rid of this. I'm not going to get rid of it. I'm just going to move it down. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move that down, and I'm going to move that down. And what I'm left with is this. Oh, that's cool. Now, I'm hoping that you kind of got that. Play around, okay? Because I could spend like another 5 minutes going over this. I don't want to do that. I want to keep it simple. But now if I just come to the bound fill, and let's just see how this is going to appear. Let's now go to the fill of this bounding fill. Fill here. I'm going to come back to texture, load texture. I'm going to go with that. Where was it now? Where was my card? My card finish. Oh, I'm losing it. That's not really card, is it? But I'll go with that. Mossy rock, whatever, okay? What I'm going to get is, I want to have this with this head as an island and this body and tail as an island. And that is what I'm going to have made as a laser cut bookmark, which I think could look pretty cool. So that's what I'm going to go with right now. And I'm going to do this in card, and I'm going to do it in high impact polystyrene. Yes, that's the one. Hips. And we'll see how they look. Okay, so I'm going to, oh, hang on. Before I do that, let's just undo that fill. What of course I need to do here is do my laser cut blue lines. So with a 0 spacing graphical path here, let's change my color here to blue. What I want to do is identify what's going to be cut. Now, something important to say here is I shouldn't do the outline cut first, because if I click on the outline first, it will cut the outline first. And when it cuts the outline, it can dislodge the positioning of the card inside. And then when it cuts the inside parts, well, everything's misplaced and it doesn't cut properly. So I'm going to undo all that, and I'm going to click in the order I want to cut. I want to cut the head first, then the body, and then the outline. And that's going to work much more successfully. Okay, let's save this now as a cat bookmark version 2. Save. I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm going to pause the video. We'll see what we get. See you shortly. Okay, so the laser cutter is done, and let's have a look at what we have got. Okay, let's make this a little bit bigger here so we can see. Okay, so these were my original cat designs. In fact, I think I will just put that across to the side again like that. Let's have a see. Let's just see if I can zoom in on here. Here's the new model I've come up with, which is right here, which I think is really, really beautiful. In terms of the dimensions here, you probably can't see with the resolution, but this is actually 16 in height because, of course, I made the original cat graphic was 150. In fact, yeah, there we are. So you can see here, 150 goes from, let's just change the color there. Let's make that black. Goes from this base point here to, yeah, basically the top there of that ear. But with my 5mm contour, I go 5mm above, 5mm below. It ends up being 160 in height. And then here I've done it in high impact polystyrene, and I've got a protective plastic on here, which is making the finish looking look a little bit matte. But if I just peel those two parts away, and then just start to remove the protective plastic. There we go. Then what we get is this really nice kind of glossy finish happening there. That is looking really quite beautiful. I'd like to try with the black. I had a bit of scrap blue, so that's the one. Oh, move things up a little bit there. The scrap blue is the one that I went with. It'd be interesting to see how that comes out in black, but I'm liking that one there a lot. Let's just see how that fits into my book. You know, I don't find that personally as attractive. It just looks like a squiggle rather than a cat. Interesting, but it just shows how you need to experiment and try things out. I already thought that, I love that as a design, as a complete image, but when it comes to the bookmark, I almost feel as if this design here just works better with the cat either just sitting on the book or just peeking out over the top. In terms of strength here of the design in card, yeah, it really is quite fragile and flimsy, but once it's in this high impact polystyrene or HIPS, that really is quite robust. I wouldn't necessarily want to stick it in the bottom of my bag and pile things on top of it, but as a day-to-day product, I'm pretty pleased with that. It kind of feels quite nice the way it flexes in my fingers. Okay, so that is the end of this video. I hope that you gained something from this. Again, it's really all about just having the confidence to experiment, try different things out, and then once you know what is possible with the software and the hardware that we're working with 2D design, Paint.net, the laser cutter, the different materials we have, then you can go away and you can start to design your own unique products. So, with that in mind, I will leave you with this to explore and look forward to seeing you in the next video, where I think what I'm going to do is look at making something from scratch, not using images off the internet, but something completely just using kind of designs in 2D design. Okay, hope to see you then.